Here we go.
Hey, it's a brand new day. Time for Ask a Traffic Cop. It's time to play. Got the questions flowing, the answers knowing. Traffic law and safety, we keep going. Great white north with a friendly glow. Ask us anything about the rules of the road. From stopping at a stop sign to merging with grace. We're here to educate, make your commuter safe. Traffic Cop will answer with care. From Halifax to Vancouver, coast to coast. We're here to keep you safe when you're on the road. Straight white north with a friendly glow. Ask us anything about the rules of the road. From stopping at a stop sign to merging with grace. We're here to educate, make your commute safe. Traffic talk, we got the wisdom to share. Ask a traffic cop, we'll answer with care. From Halifax to Vancouver, coast to coast. We're here to keep you safe when you're on the road. Traffic talk, we can share. Ask a traffic cop, we'll answer with care. From Halifax to Vancouver, coast to coast. We're here to keep you safe when you're on the road.
Oh, wow. Okay, it's another day done for intros. Thanks to sunodata.ai. I am having way too much fun with that. You may have noticed that because I've been doing it for a couple of days now. Day two, we have two intros, a Monday, a Tuesday. What will happen on Wednesday? Who knows? But good morning. Happy Tuesday. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service here in Ontario, Canada. The song said coast to coast because I said make it a Canadian song. These are AI prompts. I'm just typing words into a generator and it created that. Pretty awesome. Good morning to Chase, who is on the case. He says good morrow. Kayla with greetings and salutations. He's giving me a dad joke for a little bit, along with a yogi quote. We've got, what do we have here? Okay, questions about car show stuff. Tien, oh, by the way, that was Michael who has questions about car show stuff, so we'll go back to it. Tien says, good morning, everyone. A joke from Michael will flag for later. Brandon says, good morning to all you amazing people. Let's have an amazing day. Yes, let's all do that. And he's got a question we'll come back to. Good morning from Paul, and good morning, Sean from Jordan. We've got Neha who says, good morning. I see we're vibing to the AI music today. It is so much fun. If you're watching, and you are if you're seeing this, you're probably watching on one of the many platforms we're broadcasting onto. Let's see here. We've got, I'll throw them on screen. Makes it easy. We're on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and of course, X. And if you're watching on X, know that you can actually comment and engage in the show. For a long, long time, X was one of those platforms where you could only watch but not engage, and that has changed. You can now join us and be part of the conversation. Get into the live, you actually click into it, and once you're there, you can add comments, and it'll come up on screen, and we can talk to you, which is what we're all about. This is a show for you. Truly, it's to answer your traffic and police questions. And if you can't watch live, if you've got to drive, then know that you've got some options, because this is downloaded and then rebroadcast afterwards as a podcast. And it's available for download on Apple Podcasts, iHeart Podcasts, Spotify, and a bunch of other places. Basically, if you've got an app that you like using, we're probably on it. Just go to ASKaTrafficCop.ca for all of our social media and, of course, our podcast. But you can just search AATC or Ask a Traffic Cop, and you should be able to find it fairly easily. What is going on? I hope that Monday night treated you well. I hope Tuesday morning was even better. And we have. Well, it's sort of sad. Our JD is retiring, and today was an opportunity to get together and say so long, although it's not his last day. It's soon to be, and we're going to miss him here because he's been awesome helping us out on the show, making it better for you, and we really appreciate everything he's put into helping us. So it's going to be sad that he's leaving. But if he wants to hang out on, on his retirement and still moderate and do that, we're open to it. Just letting you know in case you're watching, okay? Let's get into a couple of things. We're going to talk about Vision Zero. Yeah, we're a Vision Zero city. We want everyone to be safe. The idea of Vision Zero is it's to change driver behavior through education, design. We definitely want folks to be coerced into doing the right thing by environmental design, by road design. And there's engineers who do that. Police don't do that. We do the education component. We, of course, do the enforcement component, the stuff that comes after the others. And at the end of the day, we want people to do the right thing, to be safe. And that often means writing tickets. Yeah. Changing behavior one ticket at a time. That's what Division Zero Enforcement is out there doing. They're trying to make a difference. And today, they are in 14 Division and 53 Division. Those are neighborhoods like Christie, Ossington, Annex, Little Italy, Lawrence Park, Yonge and Eglinton, Rosedale, Leaside, neighborhoods where real people live, work, and play and deserve to be safe. And they're looking for the big four. Yes, they're looking for those who choose to speed, drive aggressively, drive distracted, drive impaired. Those are the activities people choose to engage in that lead to serious injury and death more often than not. So don't do those things, or we'll meet you and ticket you or arrest you, depending on what those events are. Either way, learn to play nice with others. That's what we're trying to say. And the fine folks who joined our show are people who are interested in that. They want to know traffic law and traffic safety stuff. That's why you're here. So if you don't already follow us, please do. Please like, share, subscribe. If you're on TikTok, please hit that, tap that screen so the hearts go up and you send us hearts, likes. Those things help the algorithm decide to share us with more people. Now, it does make the live stream busier, but that's what good people do. They share good information. It's all about sharing. Okay. We got some questions coming in from Chase. I'll flag that for a second from now. Boy Mom says, good morning, Sean. Hobo who begs on Kickstarter says, yo. Northern Pike says, good morning, everyone. Catherine Hall says, good morning, everybody. Actually, everyone. And Paulie says, good morning, Mr. Shapiro. Good morning, Paulie. And we have Hazem who says, where are you from? Like, I was born, raised, and live in Toronto, Canada, which is in Ontario, the province of Ontario. We are the Toronto Police Service. This is the official traffic services page and show and stuff and things, yes. We have Eric who's got a question. We'll come back to that. We've got Brandu who says, good morning, Sean. Brandu? No, it's Brando. Monica says, hello. We've got another question from Chase that I'm flagging. Catherine says, oh, no, Catherine's talking to Monica. And Basharat Ali, my friend from Punjab, Pakistan says, morning, Sir Sean, walk safely, drive carefully. Yes, whatever you're doing, whatever you are involved in, do it safely. Safety should be the first thing on your mind whenever you're doing something. And so many drivers and even walkers and riders, well, don't think about safety, but should. Okay. I don't know what Spencer, the fat panda, wants to, but we'll flag it. Not that button. Monica says, good morning, Sean, and good morning, Monica. 6 Dot Cards wants to know my thoughts on 11 Division. It's a division, isn't it? I don't know. I have no thoughts on 11 Division versus 12 Division versus, yeah. Logan says, good morning. Michael has a 2-part question for which we will return. That's Michael L. Adam says, hello, and we're up to date, which means I can go back to the top of the list and start with actual questions in order. Oh, and by the way, happy first day of spring. That's a thing. Did it snow? There was snow on my car this morning. Didn't feel very springly, but it's the day. It's on the calendar, so it must be true. What was this? Okay. Michael wants to know, aside from the greetings, how was the space in the OPP borrowed vet at the Indy last summer? If you had some money, a vet is one car I actually want, especially as an 80s or 90s model for the body shape. So I saw, well, first of all, how was the space? Oh, how was the space physically in the car? It sucked. I love the Corvette. I absolutely love the Corvette in terms of, since I was a kid, it's just a dream car. But the vets of the 80s and 90s I fit into, and the new vets are itty-bitty and not meant for me at all. So you being taller than me, I would say it's the current ones are no-go, but the 80s and 90s would be awesome. I saw one that was 80s or 90s. It was something I would have seen when I was in high school on the road a couple of days ago. And it was an older guy with a ponytail and the top down. And I said, you know what? I could deal with having that car, that era of car in my driveway. Yeah, I could deal with that. Okay, we've got, and he continues to say, Michael says, joke, speaking of buying an old Corvette, I put my old car in reverse today. Man, that took me back. I should have left that till later. However, funny, I like it. Took him back, reverse. All right, question from Brandon. If a police officer from another agency comes to work for TPS, do they have to do the training, and does their seniority carry over? Funny you should ask. Now, I wasn't going to talk about careers right off the bat, but since that's like the first question in the hopper, let's quickly bring up the page from, well, employment. That's what this is. I can put the website on the screen for anyone who's interested in knowing more about employment, but specifically lateral hire. So yes, if you've graduated from a police college in Ontario or from another recognized police college where they only have to do some requirements or patch over courses, then yes, a lot of those things are carried over. More information about that are right here on the webpage. So check it out. There is a process, and yes, there is some benefit to a lateral move. Okay, back to questions. By the way, we'll talk more about employment later. If you have questions about employment, want to become a member of the Toronto Police Service, say so. It'll let me know at about past that we should get back on topic. Or at least the topic of employment. Okay. Chase has a question about tractors for which I don't really have an answer. If you were operating a tractor on the side of the road and go to your other farm field, can you have a passenger standing beside you with no seatbelt in the cab? It's an implement of husbandry. It's something that I just don't know the answer to. And I have an officer here who happens to drive a farm tractor. He's involved in farming when he's not on his days working, and I will ask him that question. I don't think he's working today, though, so I don't want to bug him right now. But that's definitely a question for my man. I'll leave it there. My man, the farming man. We'll come back to it. Let me send him. Actually, you know what? I'm going to send it. He could even be watching. Pouring water on my laptop. That's not good. I'll put a lid back on this thing. All right. Let's see here. I'm going to send him a message quickly because it's not that early. It's normal people are awake right now, right? Boom, boom, boom. And the question is going to be a photograph that I take of that question. It's going to make life easier. Okay. Sent. Easier than typing. What are the HTA laws? This is from Eric. Oh, this is a good question. What are the HTA laws surrounding stretched tires? I bought tires within the tire manufacturer's specs, but it looks stretched. If the tire does not match, if it's not the right size tire for the wheel and it is stretched, well, that's not legal. It's unsafe. It puts all sorts of strange pressure onto areas of the tire it's not supposed to be. You get it. It's unsafe. You get pulled off the road for that. You can lose your plates. Deemed an unsafe motor vehicle. Improper tires. Depends on what we're seeing. But yeah, if it's something that looks stretched but isn't stretched, check with your dealership. Make sure that the measurements are in fact correct for that size tire, the right rim for the right tire. People do the darndest things, and if you're stretching a tire and the sidewall is protruding beyond that of the tire, that could be a major problem and could be unsafe. But without knowing more of what specifically you're talking about, I couldn't tell you if your situation is in fact legal or not. Chase wants to know if you hit a parked car in an airport. What is this? If you hit a parked car in an airport lot, but you leave a note on the windshield, is that still failed to remain? Is there a better option? There are far better options. You talk to local security and police. Airports have police on a site. They have security. If you make contact, leaving contact information there, calling police, although calling 911, it's not a 911 emergency. We're talking about minor contact. It's not a fail to remain if you've made efforts to contact and let people know where they can contact you, but more than a note. So just a note, not really sufficient in my opinion. Contacting security, making a report, contacting the local police, just to say, hey, I've made efforts to find the person, I can't find them. That is better than simply driving away. And yeah, if you created or made contact and damage, even though it may not constitute a collision, because collision needs to, well, there's damage, so it would be a collision. You need to have damage and or injury to be considered a collision for the purposes of a collision report, and it has to be over the $2,000 threshold to require a report to police. But you still have to leave your information. And okay, I'm going in a circle with the whole note thing. I don't think note meets it. Call me crazy. If you were operating a tractor, we talked about this one. Is it illegal to drive fast, yo-yo the speed limit? I think you mean like beyond. What does yo-yo the speed limit mean? Does that mean above the speed limit, up and down, above and below the speed limit? The speed limit's the maximum. That's as fast as you can go. All right. Michael L. If you're on a freeway with 2 lanes and you're coming up to traffic that's going to merge, is it advisable to move over to the fast lane where cars are going much faster? And there's a continuation. And they have to slow down because you're going to speed limit? Or should I just stay in the current lane and let the traffic figure out how to merge? So you see merging traffic, should you make a change to the left lane so they have a space to merge, but not accelerate? So you don't want to become a speed bump in the fast lane. If you're doing the speed limit, then that's reasonable to move over, and the person who's speeding could slow down because they're breaking the law. So that's not unlawful. But you have to gauge every situation on its own. You can't say there's a perfect solution. You might slow down to give the person who's merging space, but simply throwing yourself into the passing lane if there's only 2 lanes doesn't sound like the best solution given the options. I would likely give them space or let them. It's still their responsibility to merge safely. So if you can't get out of the way for them, then it'll all work itself out eventually. But yeah, just becoming a speed bump, not necessarily a good idea. Cutting people off, not a good idea. Is it illegal to floor the car until the speed limit? We've had this discussion. Sarge and I kind of disagree. He says there's no law that says you cannot do that. However, I read a definition of the stunt driving and think that it might follow into that category of, what is it? The marked departure from what everyone else is doing in that lane. The speed limit. You're not going over the speed limit. Maybe he's got a point. If people are jumping out of the way, if you're causing a problem, if you're creating panic, I would say it's stunt or careless at very least. But if you're just in control of the vehicle, not breaking traction and accelerating quickly to the speed limit, it's going to be up to the officer who interprets your actions. That's really what it is. Greetings from Alberta. Well, greetings back from Ontario, but you knew that already. I love it when it's a cross country, all over the place show. Hey, we got 144 people watching. Where is the big boost of people? Where is the majority? 92 watching on Traffic Services Live. By the way, for the 92 people watching on Traffic Services on X, you can be part of the conversation. Throw questions our way. We'd love to hear from you. It works. I say that it works. Maybe I should actually test it. I'm going to go into my X account from VoiceOver Cop, and I'm going to check it out. Just to make sure, because it's to tell everybody that it works and then have it not work. Well, that's not okay. Okay, Traffic Services. Into the live we go. You tap on the screen, testing. Let's see if it actually went through. Sent. I don't want that cursor. Hey, it worked. See? There you go. Testing, and it shows that the message came from X, which means you can do it too. You do have to tap on the screen to bring up the text box. It doesn't show it to you right away, but it works. So if you've got questions, we usually have answers, except for the last couple of questions where I'm like, maybe, could be. Not everything is cut. Oh, the audio still works even. Okay. So for anyone who wants to listen and drive without breaking the law, you can actually close the screen on Twitter, and it'll still play the live stream audio in the background. That's pretty awesome. Did not know that until I just found out. Okay, moving down. Moving for. Okay, that's the questions we left. Things go out of whack sometimes. That's the greetings from Alberta. Okay. Chase says, actually, the spring equinox occurs at 23:06 tonight, so it's technically still winter. Well, thank you very much. Actually, I knew that, but I spent a bunch of time online Googling which is the appropriate day to consider the first day of spring. It does occur today, even though it's tonight, and the consensus is that it's in fact today. But I wrestled with it. It was not an easy decision to make. The things I wasted time with last week when I was scheduling that post. What can we legally do to protect ourselves from car theft related home invasions? That is a more complicated question. So this is all stemming, I'm sure, from the comments and I think the general misunderstanding of what was said in regards to protecting yourself to prevent your vehicle from being stolen. So first off, there are things you can do to make your vehicle less attractive for theft. Things like Faraday bags and using the club, and some people are using bollards like poles in their driveways, parking in a garage, parking in a well-lit area, having video cameras and surveillance. But there's also the concept that there have been many cases where people are breaking into homes to steal keys and making, like, the old advice that we used to give was hide your keys, make it difficult to find. But then people have been assaulted and convinced to give up their keys. So the suggestion was to leave your keys in a not so hard to find place at the front of the house. So if thieves do break in, they find them and don't hurt you, which is much worse than losing your car. I don't want to see people get hurt. So that's where that sort of thought process went. Now, what can you do? Can you legally arrest somebody using citizens arrest powers? Yeah, you can. You can also get really hurt, and you can also be responsible, or you are responsible, for using excessive force. It's a complicated situation. It's not a good situation. If you were going to be carjacked, we would tell you to give up your car. Your car is insured. This is the same situation. If violence or your car, you have the option, one or the other, I think your car can be replaced while violence leaves not only immediate injuries but lasting marks. Okay. Why are there not enough OPP on our highways? I don't know. I'm assuming they're suffering from the same sort of situation as, well, all the police services in Ontario and pretty much the entire planet. We need more police officers. It's just what it is. It's a budget thing. It's a good applicant thing. It's time. Lots of people retiring. The whole baby boom thing. Lots of people going to retire and enjoy the rest of their lives, leaving fewer people on the road. So I'm imagining that they have the same problem that we have. Alex May, thank you very much for the message. Good morning. Have a great day. We're closer to Friday than yesterday. This is true, and this is positive. And I'm looking forward to Friday because Saturdays are awesome. Is it legal to drink and drive on a lawnmower? Assuming it's a riding mower, then the answer is it's illegal. You can be charged for impaired operation operating a motor vehicle. And under the Criminal Code of Canada, a motor vehicle is anything that is powered by or is propelled by anything other than muscular power. So you're not pedaling that lawnmower. It's a motor vehicle according to the Criminal Code of Canada. And yes, you can be arrested and charged for impaired operation. And frankly, while a motor vehicle on the road, a car per se, that is dangerous. Something with giant rotary blades on it sounds horribly dangerous if things go wrong. But obviously probably not a high speed collision. Anyway, either way, yes, it's illegal. And Robert Collins says, good morning. Christopher asks what I think is a 3,000 silly question. If someone got caught smuggling 3,000 pounds, would that be severe? 3,000 pounds of what? Chocolate bars? I don't know what you're talking about. Let's see here. Shiv says, I think smuggling anything would be severe. Yeah, smuggling bad. The word smuggling suggests not legal. And there's a bunch of laws that's not my department. That's going to be a CBSA thing. What do we have here? Canada Border, sir. Yeah. To make sure my acronyms are right. When are you going to arrest? We're not talking about that. Boom, boom. Why are we worried about traffic laws when we can't police real criminal offenses? Well, there's criminality, and there are some criminal traffic offenses, but the whole deal with traffic is that it affects real people. Yes, people on the roads every day rely on the roads to get to where they're going and back home again, safe and sound, and they matter. These laws matter. Being safe on the road, it affects other drivers, pedestrians, cyclists, vulnerable road users altogether. If we can't be safe on the roads, we got problems. And last year we lost 45 people to traffic collisions in Toronto only. That's not including the whole rest of the planet or even the rest of the province. So these traffic safety things are important, and speeding is dangerous. So yeah, if you'd like us to be able to put more resources towards other things, how about not breaking the laws on the road? We won't have to put as many people to deal with keeping traffic safe, and then maybe we'd be able to spend more time. I work on traffic stuff. We have an entire division dedicated to it. There are other units and other divisions that specialize in other types of offenses, but they're all important. Anyway, what is the boom, boom, boom? Everything just scrolled up because a whole bunch of people asked questions, which is awesome. A A Kayla Jacona says to prevent auto theft, you can legally own a dog. Dogs are a great way to prevent break-ins. I don't have stats on it because I'm not the stats guy for break-ins, but I can tell you that I've like the barking pre-alarm, because well before your alarm system goes off, your dog is barking when a car it doesn't recognize is on the street, which may keep you up at night, but it's definitely an early warning system, and maybe that gives you the kind of time you need to be able to respond. But I do like the idea. Dogs are a great idea. It makes me feel a lot more comfortable about having, family at home alone ever. How often should you, Monica wants to know, how often should your car tries? I'm not picking up what you're putting down, Monica, but I really don't know what you mean. If anybody else knows what Monica means, please let me know. No, I'm trying to guess. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see here. Where is Jim coming in from? Because at this point, you're spamming. Here we go. And based on that, we'll mute you. Sorry, you're taking over the chat by repeating yourself. So I didn't block you. I just muted you. The next step is to block you. Lots of people upset with police being here. Apparently, cops are the problem. That's according to Harry. Where's Harry? There we go. Okay, moving on. Why did police told to leave car open on the news? I don't think police said leave the car open. Although many people who have convertibles suggest leaving the doors unlocked because criminals have been known to cut the rag tops to get inside. So that's a very common thing amongst those people because it's cheaper to replace what they've left if they left anything inside the vehicle at all. But I guess if you're leaving the vehicle unlocked in the first place, you're probably not leaving valuables inside. It's a convertible. But different tactics. This is measuring risk. What's more expensive, and what's a bigger problem? But I didn't hear that on the news. How many times do you have to answer it's illegal to go over the speed limit? Nick, I can't tell you how many times I've said it over the number of years that I've been doing this. And it seems to be one of the most common questions or issues. People don't get it. The speed limit is the limit. It's the maximum you can go, period. That's it. That's all. There's no more. Although I'm usually the slowest vehicle on the road when I'm doing the posted speed limit, which is frustrating because everyone who passes me is breaking the law. I'd love to issue them all tickets. There's no excuse for speeding. It's like the simplest thing. Just don't break the law. And everyone will be safer for it. And people who argue, but I got to go places, or I need that 12 minutes that doing 20 over gets me, they're full of it. They can leave 12 minutes earlier and be safe. And it's like you actually have time to respond to changes up ahead. Those times when you're slamming on the brakes because somebody reduced their speed up ahead, this is an indicator that you've done something wrong. You've made a poor decision in life, and it's called speeding. It really is a problem. And for the people who say, well, I do it every day and it's no problem, it's a problem when it becomes a problem, right? But when you are past the point of no return, when you cannot avoid the collision that you're about to get into, when your car is wrecked, when you've hurt somebody, those are the undoables. You cannot change that once it's happened, but you could have planned better and avoided the situation altogether. Oh my God, more people who are. It's TikTok today. TikTok's the negative Nancy source. Anyway, moving on. Okay. That boy Rondell the Fourth. Hey, I actually was able to read that. Okay, do I have to physically give the police officer my driver's license, or can I hold on to it and just show? So according to the HTA, it says that you have to surrender it, which means give it to them, for reasonable inspection, which means give it to them, because just holding it up is not reasonable inspection. What if your driver's license that you're holding up isn't a driver's license, but a reasonable facsimile? If we can't inspect it, it doesn't work for us. We do not accept that. A photo of it is not acceptable. A photocopy of it's not acceptable. The actual physical card must be surrendered to a police officer upon demand. Otherwise, you are looking at a $110 fine in the province of Ontario. Okay. Oh, good point about the accelerating to the speed limit legally. It's possible that by hammering that gas, you may be breaking the law when it comes to unnecessary noise. And thank you very much, Hedgehog, for bringing it up, because it didn't enter my mind. I was thinking most people doing this are probably driving very, very quiet cars. Just wasn't something I thought about. All right. I love, by the way, I saw the video for the keys outside with tea and thought that they were very creative. I actually reported or commented on their video saying not exactly what we were suggesting, but very funny, because it's very creative. I enjoyed that video. Not the messaging. What do we got here? Robert Collins says, great way to help people. What you're doing is great. Thank you so much. You know what? This is the greatest way to reach out and be reached, because we are being viewed right now. This might be a record. We have 231 people watching currently over. That's a big Twitter day. Big Twitter day. Between VoiceOver Cop and Traffic Services, we have about 220 people, 235 in total watching live. But we have another whack of people watching on TikTok and Instagram. So this is a good numbers day. Thank you everybody for joining. It's awesome to have you all here. If you've got questions, please put them into the chat. If you're on X, being Twitter, you can also participate. Although so far I'm the only person to put a message on Twitter today. But you can do it. You can ask us anything. If we have answers, we'll tell you. If we don't have answers, we'll tell you that too, because I don't have all the answers. But I do my best, and for things we don't know, we look up. All right. Fresh Pot says, do highway cops travel with lights on with the intent to slow down traffic if all traffic is fast? No, we don't drive around with our lights on, just like our flashing lights. We don't drive around with our lights on all the time. That's just not a thing. Some countries do. I've been to places around the world, some of whom travel with their police lights on all the time. When asked why they do that, they say to tell the criminals that we're here so they don't do anything. So we don't do that. In fact, while it may be very effective for slowing people down, I think it actually creates a serious safety concern. And that is, if we are driving around with our lights on, people do the darndest things. They will hit the brakes and not only slow us down, but to the point where they stop dead in their tracks. We're just not used to that sort of thing here. It would cause mayhem. And it would also reduce the efficacy of actually using them when we need to use them. So police can legally exceed the speed limit without turning the lights on. We can drive, obviously, regularly without the lights on. The only time we have to turn our lights on is when we're crossing through a signalized intersection that is displaying a red signal to us. And then we have to come to a stop, activate our emergency equipment, and then only then can we cross through and get to the other side, at which point we can turn them off again. Which really, a lot of people think we do that just because we're bored or impatient. It's not the case. Maybe some people do it. It's not the way it is. Not the way it's supposed to be. I don't think it happens. Let's see here. Okay, covered that. All right. Hi, officer. Till what time can I drive with my G2 out on highway? This one, I'm not going to try and. There's too many I's for me to try and pronounce that without making a mess of your username. Once again, hi, officer. Till what time can I drive with my G2 out on the highway? A G2 is a probationary license. You can drive at all times of the day and night. The only conditions come into play between midnight and 5 a.m., and they are not for you as a driver, other than for how many passengers you can carry that are under the age of 20. So if you are a G2 in the first year of being a G2, you have this condition. In the first 6 months, you can have no more than one passenger under the age of 20. And except for the exemption is immediate family. So if you have spouse, siblings, immediate family, they can be in the car with you, no limit other than the number of seat belts and seats. Now, if you are in the second 6 months, you're limited to 3 people under the age of 20 who are not your immediate family. That's the only condition. Now, if you are a G1 driver, there's a condition where you cannot drive between midnight and 5 a.m. That's a different situation. And that is all. Hope that helps. If you have other questions, please feel free to ask. And what do we got here? Can they take your car for tints? Good question. I need more water. So, yes, depends. If your vehicle's tints are simply too dark but lawful, that doesn't sound right. Lawful or safety, meet the safety standard. 30% light blockage is the safety standard in Ontario, according to the Light Truck and Passenger Vehicle Guide. So if you are certifiable, So they're just too dark for us to see in, or the light conditions, it's dark out and I can't see in because of the tint. Well, that's a ticket for obscuring the interior or obscuring the driver's view. $110 for each of those. However, if you have tint on the windshield, that's an immediate fail on your safety. If you have tint that is so dark that it is beyond that of 30% blockage, beyond that or less than 70% light coming through, well, that's an unsafe motor vehicle situation, and you'd be charged for that. And yes, we would take your plates. Because your vehicle is unsafe for the road, we take your plates. You'd have to get recertified to be allowed to get plates again. So that's the roundabout answer. Tints can be the causation of or the trigger for us to take your license plates. Not a good day. Now, I will say this. People have been known to peel their tint off at the roadside, and it's avoided, in many cases, having their plates seized. Yeah. A lot of people, not even going to acknowledge it. Yeah. Let's see here. Another tip could be to install more heavy-duty strike plates to prevent deadbolt from... Yes, there are... This is going to the whole concept of preventing the break-ins or slowing people down. Yes, you could install more heavy-duty strike plates to prevent your deadbolt from going through the frame when kicked in, but there are windows, and it all depends on how determined the thieves are. But there are great officer resources. I mean, officers who are resources in your local division who can give you great information about preparing your house to be less of a target, also to be less susceptible. The idea is to create time, right? The time so you can be aware, time so police can respond, glass break sensors, alarm systems, all sorts of things that can help your home be less attractive to would-be thieves. What is this? If my car got broken into but nothing big was stolen, should I still call police? Yes. We need to know what's going on in neighborhoods so we can understand trends. Your vehicle may have been the third vehicle. Maybe there's something that helps a case to track a potential or a thief or catching a thief. Just because you didn't have anything stolen doesn't mean that incident shouldn't be recorded, because it was probably one of many. I know you're not supposed to park on top of a hill, but can you actually be ticketed? Why are you not supposed to park on top of a hill? Like on the grass? Or if there's legal parking there, you can park legally. I'm not aware of any don't park on hill laws. And I don't know where you're located, but we have entire streets that are on hills. So there's definitely parking on it. But tell me more. I need to know more. Why are my taxpayer dollars paying for you to sit on TikTok? Well, I'm a media relations officer. I am a traffic safety officer, and I educate people. And oddly enough, what we're doing here is called education. You may not like it. You may not need it, but you're welcome not to be here. And I mean that with the greatest of respect. This is the greatest way to talk to the largest number of people at one time. This used to be, picture this. You call the police for a question. You get somebody at the front desk who then transfers you to me, and we have a one-on-one conversation. Is that better? Or can I answer your question and everybody else's at the same time? And that's pretty much what we're doing here. We're talking to a large number of people and creating a resource that can be viewed at later dates. All of our videos are online to be watched. Now, you're on TikTok, so you may not see this, but if you go to the library of it's called YouTube, you can look at all of them. Yo, my guy, why you ain't never show up on accidents? Because I don't go on the road anymore. I used to be a traffic investigator on the road. I used to respond to collision calls and investigate them. I absolutely did, but it's been a while since my motorcycle crash, and that's why I don't do it anymore. But I miss it. I used to really enjoy being out on the street, both enforcing laws and in investigating. And that's what I signed up for. This has been an adjustment. And for Mon Jack, who wants to know if I'm on the clock right now, the answer is yes, I am. Hello. I'm on the clock. Are you on the clock, Sarge?
I am on the clock. Not a big clock.
No, not the big clock. Big clock is a much better clock.
How are you?
I am good. How art thou?
Today is good. Doing a bunch of things and
Stuff and
got
things?
Stuff and things to do and ongoing.
And new wheels?
I am waiting for a text message. I may have to jump out as soon as I get it, but for the time being, I'm here.
Welcome. Thank you. For those who don't know, the gentleman who just walked in, Sergeant Murray Campbell from Traffic Services.
Yeah.
We should get you a some kind of sound.
What sound would I be?
I don't know.
I don't want to know. I don't think.
No. It could be the. That's an Ewok for anyone who didn't immediately identify the sound. Akela wants to know, or actually Akela's wife wants to know, what you can do about drunk cyclists.
So, is it impaired?
According to the Criminal Code of Canada, a bicycle that is by muscular power alone is not impaired operation. However, there's the issue of public drunkenness, impaired. What was it called? Is it not public drunkenness?
Intoxicated in a public place.
That's the word. Or words.
Could it lead to also a careless driving ticket?
Yes.
If you're on a bicycle on a roadway? Absolutely could.
I like it.
Now, we're going to see what happens with the laws. Currently, there was a conviction for impaired causing death where a canoeist unfortunately made some bad decisions, took a young child out in a canoe, and they died because of his impairedness. And it was upheld. Now, it isn't a motor vehicle, but it is a vessel. So we're going to see what happens in the courts to see if stuff gets transferred over to maybe a bicycle as well. Maybe the same sort of circumstances may create some new laws.
Well, in Florida, state of Florida, bicycling while intoxicated is a criminal offense.
Wow.
In fact, there's a lot of things that are criminal in the state of Florida that would not be against the law here, which is shocking.
Yeah, usually it's the other way around.
Yes, but not in this case. Do we think we have enough traffic signs on the road? This is Rob Toti who wants to know.
Here's your sign.
You know, there's a lot of signs, and sometimes there's so many signs that it's confusing if you're talking about parking. What kind of signs are we talking about?
You know what? We put up signs to help. Actually, the roadway, the municipality puts up signs to help. Hopefully they do, but you can get oversigned. Now, do you know the difference between, say, the 400 series highways, signs that have a green background and
versus
a blue
blue?
background?
This collector versus express.
I was going to say, if you do, hold on to it. Let's see if anybody else knows.
Yeah. You should have we need a sign here. Don't talk about it until, yes. But those are things that many people don't realize. And just like yellow line versus white line. And most people think one is caution and one is legal. And the fact is they're both legal, but denote the direction of traffic on the other side of the line. So there's a lot of things that are there. And people may not even realize are there.
Yep. The little markers, on the back roads that have, what do you call those things?
Mile markers?
No, we're talking the barriers. So the wire, guardrail.
Guardrail?
Guide wires. They go up on the side to keep vehicles from going down an embankment or something like that. Have a look. There's a little triangle sign at the start of them and at the end of them. And they're different. And they signify what is the start, what is the end for the snowplow operators.
Oh.
So they know where the guide wires are so they don't take them out with their snowplow.
Things that I never needed to know.
Yeah. Have a look.
Akela's wife also wants to know how bollards work to prevent auto theft. We were talking about it earlier because someone asked about putting tea in keys in the front porch again because people are having fun with this one. But the question was brought up that there's lots of different ways to prevent or make your vehicle less attractive for thieves. And one of them is basically blocking your driveway so that even if they got in the car, they couldn't get past the bollards.
That's right. So kind of like a gate that you wouldn't be able to drive through. It stops entrance and egress from your driveway. I think it would need to have some, sort of like the parking lot bollards that are in there. The one at the end of your driveway obviously would have to be removable or would have to be automatic. But good idea.
Most of what I've seen, and I've seen people doing it just near schools where they don't want people parking on their driveways when there's pick up and drop off, which I understand. They put them on there and people can't get on the driveway. Yep. They have to be obviously close enough that either close enough to the bumper of the car that it wouldn't allow them to just drive around them.
Right.
But it's interesting to see what people are willing to do to prevent. And there's lots of people investing money into keeping their cars. And I appreciate that. It makes a lot of sense to some degree. Depends on how much money you're spending.
Yeah. Well, if it's a car that's important to you, maybe even a collector car or something that has some value, emotional value to you. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, funny, I forgot if this was a message sent to me in the DMs, but someone sent me a message to the effect of This guy has this classic car. He loves his car. He parks it in the garage. He has a tractor, a farm tractor that he parks in front of the garage, and then he has all sorts of things to prevent his vehicle from being stolen. So the question was, how often does he drive the car? He says, not very often. It's a pain in the ass to get it out of the driveway. But you know what? If it's so difficult that you don't want to take your car for a drive, the criminals aren't going to take it either. But totally defeats the purpose of having the magic.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. What about the hypocrisy of officers giving traffic tickets and also breaking those laws? If you're referring to, and you most likely are referring to, cell phone tickets and speeding tickets, which happen to be the two laws that police are allowed to break, essentially. But it's not breaking them because they're actually exempted from the law in the law. It says we can do certain things.
Yep.
Kind
of like e-bikes are allowed on the road, but they're not technically, but there's an exemption to allow them to be on the road. So we have an exemption to the law of everything because we are in a certain class of employment.
We need to do certain things to get the job done.
Yep.
And the government and the lawmakers have acknowledged that. If I missed my insurance payment and police pulls me over, will they tow my car still insured? I guess I'm still insured.
So your insurance contract is between you and the insurance provider. If you don't pay your payments, they may cancel your insurance. As long as you have a valid insurance, I don't care how far in arrears you are, as long as it's still valid and it has not been canceled, you are good. That's an issue you have to work out with your insurance company.
And they're going to send you most likely registered mail to say they're canceling it. They don't just cancel it the day you miss your payment. They usually give you some time, usually. Not necessarily.
Yeah, you can't always say that because you never know. It's a private agreement between you and your insurance company. So,
and you don't want to be on the wrong side of it. So if you've got some issues, make sure you speak to them and know what you're doing before you do it, because the fines for driving without insurance on your vehicle, $5,000 to $25,000 on a first conviction, and up to 6 months in jail. Is it legal to have a camo wrap on your car? I can't see it on there. How would I even know it's there? You can never find your car again. It's somewhere in a parking. No, the deal is that you can certainly have a camouflage wrap on your vehicle. You can have any kind of wrap on your vehicle as long as you update the ownership to the new color. And for multi-cam or camo, it's going to be multiple colors. That's going to say multi.
Yep, exactly. We have taxis in the city here that are all different colors, and their license plates are all registered as multi because they're orange and green and black and orange. And
that's different than a pinstripe of green on a blue car, which would be a horrible color combination. But anyway, pick the worst ones. But that's the deal. As long you don't do a pinstripe, but if it's a significant change, I don't know if there's a marker, if it's 50% or what the story is, but if it's two-tone, multi.
Yep.
Let's see here. If someone's being racist, what should be done? I don't know the context. Like, there are racist people all over the place. If they open their mouth and make it known, that's pretty gross. Lots of people do it inside their head, which is also pretty gross. But if in certain situations, a report is, if it's a police officer, you can report them. If it's a school official, report them. If it's actually anybody, I would report them.
If it's in your workplace, then it could be prohibited grounds. Mm-hmm. You have to give us more context.
Yeah, but sometimes being racist isn't something you can actually action. Like if it's a business owner who's treating you poorly and you're a customer, don't give them your money. Don't shop there. Right. It really depends. Not everything is a hate crime. It could be just a racist, not nice person.
Right. It has to be a crime first to be a hate crime. So motivated by racism, but it has to be a crime.
Are move over laws applicable on any roadway?
You cannot obstruct traffic. You have to facilitate passing of your motor vehicle.
But I think this is the slow down, move over for, maybe I'm taking it differently.
I'm thinking far left lane, the left lane bandits. I saw one on the highway this morning.
Yeah?
Traveling at 91, 92 kilometers an hour, far left lane. And I watched them get on the on-ramp and went directly over to the far left lane.
So Ethan, are you talking about slow traveling left lane hogs, or are we talking about slow down, move over to emergency vehicles and tow trucks? So we'll address both of them. If you're not actively passing, stay to the right. Yep. If you're a slower moving vehicle, you should be in the rightmost lane and let the people who are going faster, whether that be the speed limit or above. It's not your job to police them. That's our job. Just stay out of their way because they're going to do unsafe, stupid things to get around you if you're in that lane. So that applies to pretty much everywhere because you can't prevent them or impede traffic. Now, if you're talking about slow down, move over, yeah, it applies on all laws, on all roads. If you see an emergency vehicle working in a lane, you are required to either, if the available lanes are there, take a different lane. And if not, slow down and move over and proceed with caution. There is no specific speed outlined in that law, but it is.
It definitely is below the speed limit.
Yes.
I can guarantee you that. And if the traffic is moving at 120, it doesn't mean you slow down to 110 and move over.
No, it is
you'll find
absolutely bring it
yourself in trouble
right
for
down. I have given people many breaks because I've been busy chasing the person who passed by, because that's a much more serious, well, depending, but it may have been a more serious offense. No more renewal on plates, according to Rick Madget. Madget? Maybe it's Rick Madget. But I've not heard the official. Has it been officially announced?
I have not heard that yet, and I don't know the specifics of it because you still have to pay your parking tickets. You still have to pay your outstanding fines. Are they just going to cancel your plate on you, or are they
Going to give you a notice? They don't give you a notice now.
I know. So we're not sure what they're going to do. We're usually the last to know anyways.
It makes sense. Why would we tell us? Remove fuel pump fuse or relay in some vehicles. Yes,
100%.
This is a great way to do it because would-be thieves generally don't have the specific type of item that you've removed to put your vehicle back in order. And that's been suggested on a couple of great YouTube channels I watch.
You know what? Something very similar I've done to my my motorcycle. I don't want it going missing, and there's no way they're starting it.
Northern Pike has an army of 10 cats. They will run to the window when someone walks by my house. I wonder if they are ninja cats, because that would be like if you could just sick them at would-be thieves, that'd be great. Is it illegal to buy bulletproof vests? It's not regulated by any law, but most sellers of body armor are self monitoring, regulating. They tend not to want to sell it to anyone that doesn't work in an industry that needs one.
Right.
Kind of bad to
But
bad
the bulletproof vest itself is not unlawful to purchase,
No.
or own or possess or anything. So
Can a cop just walk in your garage when you're sleeping?
depends.
Are we responding to a call? Was there a call for 911 and then we're responding to that? Because then we're going to start looking for the response. If someone's in danger, there's going to be I can't remember what the terminology is. It a assumed right? There's something about coming up to the property when there's a reason to in response.
Yep. If there is evidence of something going on there, can they go in? Can it be done for safety? Can it be done? Yep. It all depends.
Yes.
You know what? And if something was garnered from it, it became something maybe criminal, they would have to back off, freeze the scene, get a search warrant, and go about it that way.
It all depends.
There are ways to do it, and there are proper ways to get it done, and you have to do it the proper way.
Ran car rental. Ran? Hi, police officer. When the kid can sit in passenger seat, which age? If you're well, first of all, we have to say for the province of Ontario, so make sure we're talking about the right place and the right laws. A passenger seat can be occupied at any age. However, whether the child needs a booster seat, a child seat, or other device is dependent on what size and height and age they are.
Yep.
And weight. So I'm assuming you're just talking about in the seat without a booster seat of any kind or a protective seat of any kind. That's going to be 8 years old, 80 pounds, or 4'9" in height. Any one of those three qualifies them to be there legally. But you have to know that may not be the safest thing. So while you may not get a ticket for it, especially proximity to airbags, front seat bad, back seat till 14 is best. And if they're big enough or old enough or tall enough to be out of the booster seat, it may not be the safest because they could be old enough but really tiny and would benefit from the safety features of a booster.
Yep, exactly what he said.
Yeah. Let's see here. We covered that. We covered this. Why does the police make no investigation when someone is accused falsely of domestic violence? This is the traffic channel. Listen, people make calls. Can someone be investigated for making a false report?
Absolutely.
It's not lawful. I mean, and you'd have a civil suit as well, potentially. You know, this is where you get and speak to a lawyer in addition to the police. But if someone's harassing you by way of making allegations, there is a criminal avenue there.
It is public mischief and obstruct justice.
Okay.
Possibly.
Yes, it all depends.
Yep.
Okay. Benny is sketch says 100 kilometers an hour has been the max speed since forever. Since cars are now safer, should that be increased? In some areas, it has been increased in Ontario. We have a couple of stretches of road which have been determined to be safe at higher speeds, and they made them higher. But here's the problem: cars can get better, but people haven't really gotten better, and I mean that with love. Just because the car can, you gotta go.
I gotta go.
Okay,
Spin a ball. Gotta bounce.
and you missed the jokes again. And your phone is important.
Yep.
And it just vibrated. So the deal is that what did I talk about? Yeah, the average driver in the average vehicle are average, and the speed should be average too. Just because faster is capable doesn't mean that the human behind the wheel is any more capable of operating that vehicle. And the faster you go, the less time you have to respond, which means you need to be a better driver. Yeah. Spark Crew says, hey back. Corey says, zoom. Let's see here. How about things are starting to really pour in, so I'm going to miss some things. How about if semi-unable to stop at a sudden red light? There's no such thing as a sudden red light. You need to be a professional driver if you're driving a semi, which means if you're approaching a stale light, assume it's going to change and slow down to come to a stop. It's not something that you can just excuse and go through. But a yellow, the whole idea of a yellow is to stop unless it's unsafe to do so, and that is where yellows come into play. If you couldn't come to a stop safely, then you go through the amber, but that's it. What's this? Oh. A very wise man. How's the hot sauce journey? I have not been having a lot of hot sauce lately. I still have the flavorful stuff, but I've not been testing out the super hot stuff. What's the charge for no insurance and no registration? Insurance, not having the card is $65. Not having your registration documents is simply $110. But the not having insurance is $5,000 to $25,000, and it also comes with a possibility of up to 6 months in jail. Where'd I get the TPS yarmulke? From the TPS. It's an issued piece of material. Let's see here. Lots of stuff coming through. Do security companies enforce HTA laws in the GTA? No, they do not. I'm trying to catch up here. Coming from the UK, speeding cameras are absolutely everywhere. I wonder why. What is this? Why there's so less in Canada? We had more photo radar in the 90s. I'd love to see it come back. I think we need it because police can't be everywhere, and we need to be dealing with the issue, the abuse of speed. Okay, scrolling down because I missed a whole bunch of stuff. There is a buffer I can only go through. I can only keep up with it as well. Actually, I can't keep up with it. We're losing questions. Okay. Recommendations on how to train for the shuttle run and prep test. I would suggest talking to a recruiter that will tell you about the current testing process, and they can also give you some tips. Now, I have tips that work for me. I got a 20-meter piece of rope and then marked it for the length of the. Oop! I just pressed the wrong button. That was not good. Okay. Hopefully, I didn't break anything on TikTok. Did I? No, seems to be working. Okay, good. So, yeah, I had a 20-meter piece of rope, and I marked it where the beep was supposed to be, and I put it on a tennis court because where I lived at the time had a tennis court. It was in a condo, and I ran it. And whenever I wanted to brake because I just couldn't do it anymore, I stopped. I caught my pace or my breath, and then jumped back in at the then current rate. I didn't start it at 1. If you just keep going through stage 1, you will be capable of doing stage 1. If you have to take a break at stage 3, 4, 5, you take a break, you jump right back in at whatever stage you're jumping back in. And I did that twice a day for a long time. It seemed like forever. I did not like the shuttle run. That was my nemesis. But I did pass it. As a G2 driver, can you be the designated driver? Yes, you can. As a G1 driver, you cannot. Because the people who are supervising you must be legally permitted to drive, which means less than 0.05 BAC, blood alcohol content. Are underglow kits illegal? I've looked into the HDA and it's very muddled. That's because they are not specifically legal or illegal. Yes. Now, could it be illegal? It could violate other laws under the HTA, and that means that you could get a ticket for improper headlights or taillights or whatnot. Sergeant Campbell, if he sees them at any angle, he's going to write you a ticket. If I see them directly from a bulb, I would give you a ticket. But if it was reflecting off the ground, to me, that's not projecting directly outward, and I wouldn't do it. So interpretation has a lot to do with it. I turned this on because I wanted to tell you about employment stuff, and then I saw a squirrel. So this is tps.ca/careers, and if you go to this website, you will see all of the current postings for jobs. Now, police constable, special constable, parking enforcement officer, they have big headers because there's lots of information for you to read up on and learn about. But if you are interested in other options being civilian opportunities where being in a uniform out on the road may not be for you, we have people, or jobs for people who want to work for employee records, employee services representative, a law clerk, a nurse, that's a temp job, 1-year contract, court clerk, leave and absence coordinator, communications operator are the fine folks who answer 911 calls and dispatch police officers. A solutions architect is not one of those people. They're in the IT department. And then there's a senior analyst position. All these positions have different closing dates. If you're interested in these or know people who might be interested in these, please let them know that they can check them out. We want good people to work for a great organization like the Toronto Police, and it could be you if that's something that interests you. All right. If your car is tinted from the company when you buy a new car, then who will be responsible? Well, you are, because you're the one driving. So car companies don't tint windows, car dealerships do. And if they are making them illegal, that's your problem. Why is it your problem? Because you're the one driving it, and you're the one who gets the ticket. How much damage from your collision can you have on your car before it's deemed unsafe for the road? That really depends on what the officer observed. There's no specific damage threshold in dollar amount. It's about what's actually there. If your bumper is damaged, I might direct someone who's been in a front end collision where their front end has they've impacted another vehicle with the front end, but they have not had their airbags deploy. We've seen latent, deployment of airbags after the fact. So you think you're fine, you drive away, and it deploys in your face. Very dangerous. It depends. If we think that it's unsafe, we will tell you that you cannot drive it. But it's going to be on a case-by-case basis. Yes. Okay, we got, what's this? Hi, I'm a G2 driver. Can I drive someone else's car without having insurance on it? Also, is there a time limit? No time limit. And can you drive someone else's? You're a G2 driver. You can drive any vehicle that you are licensed to drive as a G2, as long as that has insurance on it. In the province of Ontario, we insure vehicles, not drivers. And that means that you can drive it if you borrow it. That does not mean you can drive it all the time. Insurance companies may have specific rules and regulations about it. In fact, if you live with them, they may say you must be on the policy. But that's a private agreement between the owner or owner of the vehicle and the insurance company, which means police don't give you a ticket for driving somebody else's car as long as it's insured. But if you get into a collision, they may choose to deny your claim. Okay, this is a great use of resources. I appreciate that, Jackson. That's what we think too. We agree with you. THX647 says, I want your job. I can be your assistant. Become a police officer and then work into traffic, and then who knows? I don't know what, someone said that there is a ridiculous comment. I don't know what that ridiculous comment was. Lots of banter amongst those in the live. If you got questions, put a Q before so I know what you're talking about. Oh, I gotta reload this because on TikTok, it doesn't look right. Well, we've gone over 11 o'clock, but there's lots of action here, so we'll keep going for a little while longer. If for anyone who's just tuning in, doesn't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, and I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff pretty much every day. Pretty much, whenever I can get here. Now, I will not be here. No, will I be here tomorrow? Yes, I will be here tomorrow. In fact, we'll be doing the show with Jerry Ager on News Talk 1010. Not the whole show. He's going to jump in for about 15 minutes where we'll talk to his audience on the air in Toronto. They'll be able to call in. And the number to call in, I'm going to mess all the pretty. I didn't make a version for him. So this new look and feel of the show has not been updated. I'll do that once I'm offline. Jerry Agar, that's what he looks like. Tomorrow at 10:35, you can join the show. 416-872-1010. Call in or text 71010. This is tomorrow, folks. And then you can participate. Yeah, it'll be fun. It always is fun. It's a totally different dynamic when there's somebody else on the other end of this. It's his voice only, but still, it's good. Okay. What do we got here? Question. Is there a number to report? Oh, come on. As the whole screen just redrew. Is there a number to report unsafe vehicles? In non-emergency line, you could report online. Actually, you could go online to tps.ca. There is a place to report specific vehicle issues, like actions of driver issues. But I think having an unsafe vehicle would absolutely be appropriate there. Explain cops having sitting in parking lots for hours doing nothing. Explain that. I can totally explain that. They're writing reports, not doing nothing. We don't do nothing. That's sort of not a thing we're capable of doing. We have so many calls in queue that we are constantly and forever in paperwork. That's the largest part of our job. They say 95% paperwork, 5% hysteria, just crazy running, everything going bananas, But it's all paperwork. So we go to a call, and one report could be hours. It's not a quick and dirty thing. It's detailed reports that matter. So that's it. Okay, we talked about this. These are older already. These are 20 minutes old. I say that because they're, hey Sarge, which of course I did not read. Why aren't corrupt cops held accountable in Canada? They absolutely are. We have many ways of tracking. We are the most scrutinized position or profession on the planet, as far as I'm concerned. And we do. Nobody dislikes a bad cop more than good cops. So they are held accountable. We do have a court system. We do have multiple layers of people who are interested in making sure they are held accountable. Now, they have to be caught. Occasionally, that takes a while. Sometimes it doesn't take long at all. All right, moving along. Hey guys, I have a modified car. How all traffic laws don't do anything reckless. What? I have a modified car, but I follow all traffic laws and don't do anything reckless. Should I be worried about police? So the answer is, depends on your modifications. If your modifications have made your vehicle illegal or unsafe for the road, then yeah, you should be worried because you're going to get caught and you're going to get charged, and that could be very expensive. If your vehicle is not illegal, just modified, then you've got nothing to worry about, because as long as you're operating and modifications are legal and safe, there's nothing to worry about, because we're only looking for people who are breaking the law. Okay. If I pay the reinstatement fee for my license, am I automatically going to receive a new license? That is a great question for the MTO or the Service Ontario. So when you're suspended and your suspension expires, you go to the ministry and you pay your reinstatement fee. And I believe it's 4 days until they reactivate, but they have to give you a new card. It doesn't. Your old card should have been taken away, and if it wasn't taken away, it will not be the valid one. You'll have to get a new one. But definitely confirm with the Ministry of Transportation, or I should say Service Ontario. I don't think anyone talks about the MTO directly anymore. Do we still put car keys at the front door for carjackers? So we used to say hide your keys, but now they're carjackers or would-be car thieves have moved up, and now they're willing to employ violence to get your keys. So for your safety, we've suggested that you don't hide the keys. That it's a very controversial concept, but think about it. If someone was going to try and carjack you, we'd say give them the car, because your safety is the most important thing. Cars are insured; they can be replaced. You cannot be. It's the same thing applies when they're coming into your home, if not worse. It's terrible. So I put my keys in a relatively easy place to find. I don't want them waking up. They're probably going to wake them up anyway, but I don't want my kids or my family being hurt. And now they're still in a Faraday bag, because I don't want them to use simple relay to take my vehicle. But if they cross that threshold, I don't want to be woken up. They don't want me to wake up. That's a different story. I was parking on my driveway. What is this? I was parking on my driveway, a little bit on the grass. I got a ticket. Is there a rule? You can't park in the boulevard. That's not your driveway. The boulevard, even the end of the driveway, which is past the sidewalk, is not your property, and you can get a ticket for that. But chances are your neighbor complained, because my understanding is those are not investigated unless somebody called. Okay. Are you twins when the sergeant was here? No, but I think he's too short to be my twin. Let's see here. Yeah, there you see. Emily says, Sean's really tall in person, by the way. Yeah, I'm 6'5", so there is that. Okay, we talked about this. Yes. Okay. Comments from Chase about the impaired case with the canoe. Yes, it's because there's a because it's considered a vessel as a definition elsewhere. That's why. But we're hoping things change. Can you please explain to viewers when it's appropriate to call into police for a traffic collision? So it's not. Here's the deal. If you're involved with a minor collision, both vehicles are drivable, exchange information, get off the road, go to the collision reporting center if you need to. You have an obligation to exchange information. If someone's refusing to do that, call police. If there's intoxication or criminality involved, call police. If there's an injury and someone needs medical attention, call police and call an ambulance. If there's if the vehicles are significant damage, a police officer may need to attend, may not, and it depends. But definitely criminality or and that includes alcohol, no insurance information, no license possibly, or something's just not right. Worst case scenario, our dispatchers or our call takers are going to tell you, no, police aren't coming. Take a tow truck, go to the collision reporting center, and that may be the case. That may be what you get told to do. But it's not wrong to call police, and that's the thing. But we don't go to all calls. So if it's a pedestrian involved, if it's a cyclist involved, we will go to those. In fact, you can go to tps.ca, and all that information is here. In fact, if you go to TrafficCop.ca, all that information is there because I link to all the stuff. Where do we go here? Somewhere I put here we go. And if I use that link, I'm going to actually go to TrafficCop.ca and share with you what's there. Okay. So, of course, you can go buy your TPS Monopoly edition, or at least an episode telling you all about the magic of the Monopoly. Let's see here. If you're involved in a collision. So, if you are a pedestrian, do I not have an actual, that's for pedestrians and cyclists only. Do I not have a link? Renewal? Holy moly. I guess I got to put up a new link. See, this is why we have these conversations. Okay. Let's go to the website, and I'm going to create a link for it in just a second. I believe it's tps.ca/traffic. No, it's not. Traffic services? You'd think I'd know this. I'm sure that's what it used to be. Okay, I'm embarrassed. What is it? tps.ca. And I go to, how do I here, I'll put this on screen so you can see the pain that I'm having myself. All right. Okay. How do I report a collision? Is it collision? Traffic collision. Okay. All right, here's the list. When will police attend a collision? When the collision involves a fatality, that is a given. Collision involves serious personal injury where a person is transported to hospital, yes, by ambulance. Criminal activity is involved, yes. Collision involved with transporting of dangerous goods, makes sense. Collision involves person who's uninsured or as a suspended driver. Not having their car does not necessarily mean the vehicle is not insured, okay. Collision involves damage to private, municipal, or highway property. The collision involves cyclist or pedestrian who has been injured. I said that. And the collision occurs between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. Where any vehicle is not drivable. Okay. And it's tps.ca/services/collision-reporting. That's Why? Because apparently it's a different URL than it used to be. I'm going to blame them, not me. I would have never remembered that. So that link I will add now to the TrafficCop.ca page. All right. This user says, bro, answer my question. I don't know what your question is. Is there a high conviction rate for assaults? I don't track that. So unfortunately, I don't have an answer for you. Oh, by the way, thanks for calling that person out, because I'm pretty confident you're absolutely right that they never answer. That's one of the biggest things on TikTok. They make that statement and hope that you get all flustered. How can you exchange an international driver's license for a Canadian one? You can't. And I say that because an international driver's license is not a driver's license. It's a translation card from your license from a foreign country. And if you mean your foreign license issued by a government from your wherever you're living, that's different. Now, if you go to TrafficCop.ca, there is information there about coming from other countries. Certain countries get a straight trade. Others get special benefit, as in skipping the line for graduate licensing. You still have to do the tests, but you can do them more quickly. Again, www.TrafficCop.ca. Scroll down to useful links, and it is there. Okay. Do officers have discretion with red light tickets? No, because we don't issue red light tickets. We issue, well, if you mean red light tickets that are automated, we don't issue them. If you mean red light tickets that we issue, then we have discretion. But why would we give you discretion? You ran a red light, you get a ticket. That's the way I would operate. You put lives at risk. But there's discretion always to a ticket that is being issued by a police officer. My brain went immediately to automated enforcement, because I thought it was funny, but I was totally not going where you were going. Miranda wants to know if it's true that if you're convicted of stunt driving, police have 6 months to arrest you for it. So here's the deal. No, what's happening is the charge of stunt driving could be laid up to 6 months after the offense occurred. So yes, they do have up to 6 months. It's not, and insurance is up to 3 years. If you drive with no insurance, we have up to 3 years. So generally speaking, we're going to catch you roadside, but if it happened after the case, after the fact, if there was something else and we laid the charges after the event, yes, 6 months delay, any HTA event, any HTA charge. We have a question from X. Thank you for being the only one today. What is the difference between dangerous driving and stunt driving? Thank you. Great question. So stunt driving is a Highway Traffic Act offense and has about 15 different triggers: speeding 50 kilometers over in an area with a speed limit over 80, speeding 40 over in an area that has a speed limit under 80. Drifting is, intentional loss of traction in a turn. Driving with someone in the trunk, driving when not occupying the driver's seat, wheelies, all of these things are stunt driving. And that is, HTA comes with a 30-day driver suspension, 14-day vehicle impound, up to, and that's immediate administrative before you go to court. Upon conviction, first time, you get a $2,000 to $10,000 fine, 1 to 3 year driving prohibition, and up to 6 months in jail. Second time, you get a 3 to 10 year prohibition, and third time, it's a lifetime ban. That's just stunt. Criminal dangerous is just that. It's criminal. So that is much more serious and criminal, not Highway Traffic Act. I'm not going to look up all the specifics, but the consequences are quite serious. But that's the difference. One is criminal code and one is HTA. Okay. Some arguments in the chat, I see. Is there a mentor program for students to become police? I'm in University for Criminology. It's not a mentor program. I mean, you can get a recruiter who can answer your questions and help you out. You can certainly approach police officers and ask for their opinions and discussions, but there's no mentor-specific program that I'm aware of. There is an ambassador program, which is basically just police officers who don't work at employment who have knowledge and want to share. So there might be somebody who chooses to be your mentor, but that's a one-on-one situation, not a program you just sign up for. Okay. Red light, are there any circumstances for going through it? Police officers can go through it. That's it. Well, police, fire, and ambulance can go through. But no, there's no situation where a member of the public can go through a red light legally, except, mind you, to make a right turn on red where it's legal to do so because it's not signed otherwise and it's safe after you made it a complete stop. What is this? Is there a, so Pepe tried to ask this earlier or previously, and is there a, what is it? Is there a requirement for aiming headlights? Yeah, you have to aim them properly. And if they're not aimed properly, you can get a ticket for that. Do something about car theft instead of being live on TikTok. That's from Kelv Guy. Yeah, I'm not we're the traffic services unit. We talk about car theft because we're talking about things you can do to make your life better and your vehicle less likely to be stolen. But that's not a traffic services responsibility. There are divisional units and a auto squad and people who are actively investigating car thefts. We talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and general policing, but we are really the traffic investigators. We are the collision investigators. We are the folks who are working diligently to make the roads safer every day. That's what we do. And are police involved in the car there? What to do? Please don't ask the same question several times. Somebody wants to know if we're involved in the car there. I don't know what your question means, unless it's something I've already answered. All right. What is this? Can I cut through a parking lot, a car park, to skip a red light? Technically, you might you're passing through private property. You could be violating trespass to property. Some places sign it. You might be running a crossing the stop or at least the sidewalk without stopping is against the law. You could get ticketed for that. But there's nothing prohibiting you from doing it unless it's signed otherwise. It's not safe necessarily. It's a bad idea. People tend to think you're rude. And what are you in such a rush for? Wait a minute for the light to change. Can a police officer pull you over for a simple documentation check in Ontario? So we can pull you over to check to make sure you're a licensed driver, to make sure that your vehicle is insured, to make sure that you are sober and under the legal limit for operating a motor vehicle when it comes to alcohol or drugs. And of course, to make sure that your vehicle is safe. So yeah, you don't have to break any rules to trigger that. Is the OACP required for all police roles? It's required for the uniform roles. Not necessarily the same standard, but for police officer, obviously. For parking enforcement officer and for special constable, I think there's a different level, but there is, I believe, a requirement for it. Talk to a recruiter. They will know the absolute information on that. Is a red light ticket non-negotiable? Is a red light ticket non-negotiable no matter what? I don't know where you're going. Like if you run a red light in front of me, it's non-negotiable. I'm giving you the ticket. If that's what you mean, do I have the ability to not issue you the ticket? Yeah, I have discretion. I'm not going to use discretion because I'm going to give you the ticket for running the red light. I mean, there's always a maybe what if, but my discretion is that people who run red lights should get tickets for them. Let's see here. What is the height stated for front seat? There is no height for front seat. Children can occupy anyone can occupy any seat. There are restrictions if you are a G1 driver. Nobody other than the supervising driver can occupy a front seat. But other than that, children can be in the front seat. It's just not safe for them. So we say back seat is best until 14. And in terms of when they can be in a seatbelt alone without a booster, 4'9", 80 pounds, or 8 years old. That's what's legal, not necessarily what's suggested. I don't understand this question that Faza keeps asking. Our police is involved in the car there. Sorry, I don't understand what you're asking, but you've asked several times. Please stop asking. I don't want to mute you. I don't. Let's see here. I'm going to scroll to a different window for a moment. Just because I need to stop that question from being asked. I don't. We'll see. Okay, I'll come back to it. What do we have here? What if a car doesn't have plates? What do you mean? Okay. 402 is 110. There are areas in Ontario that have highways that exceed or that are 110. That was sampled and they made them permanent. Small stretches of road that are deemed to be safe. So someone says, you guys leave your key fobs outside. Nobody leaves their key fobs outside. That's never been suggested. At your front door does not mean in front of your front door. It means inside your home. Inside your home. That's what it means. Okay. What do we got here? There shouldn't be speed limits on national highways unless it runs through a town. No, you're wrong. Speed matters. Speed kills. People say, well, it's not the speed that kills, it's the sudden stop. I hear you. I get you. But no, speed does kill. It creates scenarios that people aren't capable, or many people are not capable of responding to. Less reaction time. Bad. There are issues with, well, there's so many issues with speed, but it takes a lot of energy to slow down. The faster you go, the longer it takes you to slow down, and most people are not switched on nearly enough. And if you looked at some of the other drivers that you're on the road with, they're not helping you. Like, if everyone was a perfect driver, I'd say different things, but we also saw 45 deaths in Toronto alone because of collisions. Until we get that down to zero, don't talk to me about going faster, please. We need to do a lot of work to make the roads safer, and I mean that collectively. People need to be safer on the road. We need to stop having people die as a result of driver action. Yeah. Okay. And Tweep, I absolutely agree with you. I wish we had mods. We used to have lots of mods, then we had less mods, and now we are, we're short-staffed all the way around. I'm a one-person show. Everything that we're doing here is just me, myself, and I. Occasionally, I was getting help with some folks who are helping to moderate. I even asked my wife to help moderate. She's a member of the service. But that's not always possible. So sometimes we have spammers, and it's really, really annoying, and I appreciate that. I appreciate it's annoying to you. To me, I can deal with it. I can ignore them. Okay, we're almost at 11:30. I'm going to have a quick scroll to see if we got a bunch of questions that are really magical, and we will keep going if there are. Of course, this is a magical comment. You have a brilliant voice, officer. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Okay. Is it worth fighting a speeding ticket? Well, it depends. Are you guilty of speeding? I can't tell you whether it's worth it or not. I don't know if taking time out of your day to go and fight something that you may or may not be guilty of. If you're truly not guilty, well, then why wouldn't you fight? If you're guilty and you're just rolling the dice to try and get out of something and not be held responsible for the thing you did, I don't think that's the right way to waste taxpayer money. That's really what it is. You're going and taking time up in a court, and maybe people who are actually innocent. I'm not saying you're not innocent, but people who are innocent need time in court. People who are not innocent should move on with their day and learn from the lesson. That's just me talking. But talk to a prosecutor, see if they'll give you a deal. You can do that before even going to court. You can have an early resolution meeting. It's called a first appearance, I believe. I can't remember what it's called. Early resolution with a prosecutor? Crown? I can't remember what it's called. I'm having a moment. Jim has a good question. Would you please explain the situation where a driver must wait for pedestrians to fully cross before proceeding, i.e. flashing light crosswalk versus four-way stop? I would love to. That is a fantastic question. So if you're at a signalized intersection that has a crosswalk, a pedestrian who's legally on the road requires you, the driver, to yield to them. You have to wait until they are past, at very least, your half of the road, because you can't go in front of them. You must yield to them. If you fail to yield, you get a ticket. In ideal situations where a police officer catches you. Otherwise, you cause a collision. Bad things happen. Yield to pedestrians. Okay. Once they've passed your half, you can go. Unless there is a crossing guard present, at which point you have to wait until all persons are off the road in that crossing walk, in that lane. If you're at a pedestrian crossover, however, that is one that is not related to a pedestrian or a intersection. It is one that is just in the middle of the road somewhere with lights that say PXO or have a flashing amber set of lights on them. It's a crosswalk that is not a crosswalk at an intersection. Those require you to wait until the pedestrian is completely off the road, regardless of the presence of a crossing guard or not. So there are differences. I'm glad you asked the question. Can you exchange a full UK license for a Canadian one? Yes. I don't know about the heavy goods side of it, but certainly I know you can exchange a UK license for an Ontario license. Okay. What is it? What is the charge for lane splitting or filtering? I see motorcycles do it frequently. It is not specifically illegal, but the actions fit into the category of careless, stunt, or even dangerous, depending on the actions. Not every situation qualifies for a ticket. If someone's just rolling, on their tippy toes trying to get, so they're not the last vehicle, the motorcycle's not the last one in line, that's almost, I want to say it's acceptable to me. I get it. I'm a motorcyclist. I don't want to be sitting there waiting for the person who's texting to drive into me. I don't have that protection system. So, waddling through a couple car lengths to be safe, I get. Driving at speed between stopped or slow-moving vehicles, not acceptable. I would charge someone with careless, stunt, or dangerous. Dangerous if they're high-speed zigzagging through traffic. That's dangerous all day of the week, every day of the week. Okay, what's this? Can you imagine having speed cameras on highways? I wish we had speed cameras on highways all day long, not because of the money, because it would change driver behavior. People would not want to spend the money to speed, and they would slow down. UK has it all over the place. Speed zones, someone mentioned it earlier, speed zones where you enter, it then times you, and when you exit, takes another photo similar to that, how they do billing with the 407, and based on that, they determine what the average speed traveled was, and they will issue you tickets. It's great. I think it's fantastic. We have our highways are like a racetrack right now. If I'm doing 100, people are passing me at 140, 150. And there's just not enough police to manage the lawlessness on the roads. Or, yeah, that's what it is. Lawlessness. Okay. Proud trucker. Why is it easy for police to catch traffic violation rather than hundreds of car thefts? We do both. We have a traffic services unit for traffic stuff. Police services are trying to make the roads safer for their communities. It's important. And really, car theft is less important, in my most humble of opinions, than auto theft. Did I say that in the right order? Auto theft is less important than traffic laws. Traffic laws are about lives, saving lives. The thefts are about stuff. It's expensive stuff, but it's about stuff. But traffic is important. It's about keeping people alive. And I think my family is much more important than the truck that we're driving in. I mean, I want it to be safe. Where is this person? Sorry, I need to make a change. Stand by. Come on, 9 million comments and I can't find you now? Hang on a second. We're busy over there. I can't find you. Oh, it's terrible. Okay. I was going to try and moderate, but it's not actually. Oh, well. No fun. All right. Sam says, you thought TikTok was banned for government officials? No. We've been here for years. But we also don't use the app. We're using a third-party service to allow us to stream. So there's no security concerns. We need to be here for the 655,000 people that value us on TikTok in particular. But we have lots of people who watch us everywhere else, so it's awesome. Awesome. Okay. Is it mandatory to file a police report after a collision? It depends on the collision. The link will be at ASKaTrafficCop.TrafficCop.ca shortly. I haven't added it yet. But if it's over $2,000 of damage combined amongst all vehicles involved, then yes, it must be reported by law. Obviously, if someone's been taken by an ambulance, if there's criminality involved, these are all things that would require police to attend even. But the basic thing is that a police report must be filed if the total damage is over $2,000 or if someone's injured. Okay. Akil is saying, stay safe. Remember, don't have a good day. Have a great day. We like that. Someone wants me to look at their profile pic. Brock, are the lights in my profile pic illegal? I don't know. I can't see your profile from here. Everyone's interested in this. If we have two vehicles going side by side, which of the two cars would you pull over? The lucky one, the one that gets my attention, we could try and pull over both. It depends. Depends on which one I'm measuring, which one I'm looking at, which one is, depends. There's no specific rule or system. What is this? Military members are held to a higher standard police officers or not? I would say that is absolutely incorrect. We have in many respects a lot more responsibility. Depends on the military. I don't have military experience, but from my understanding of how things go, we are absolutely held accountable. And maybe it's the same. Maybe it's more than military. I don't know. I'll have to talk to my military friends. We have a number of former military folks, some active military, who, they're reservists now, but they're police officers. Is there any tailgating enforcement blitzing planned in Ontario? I couldn't speak for all of Ontario. I know that we deal with it when we see it. Can I use a photocopy of my insurance slip as proof of insurance? Photocopies are not acceptable. Original card or electronic through an app. What else we got here? Oh, I got a racist here. Oh, he's so friendly. I'll find him after. Okay. It's rare that I get people who are so overtly vocal about their positions in the chat. All right. Let's see here. This might break the stream, but we'll do it anyway. All right. When I block someone, sometimes it actually causes issues in the background. All right. I think that there's now just a lot of banter. Well, actually, I pinned a bunch of stuff that I didn't go through. Let's see here. We can certainly lighten the mood by going here with a dad joke that Akela shared with us earlier. It is, I saw a typo on a headstone the other day. What a grave mistake. I like that. He also sent a Yogi quote. In baseball, you don't know nothing. In baseball, I actually don't know anything. I'm not a baseball person. I'm not a sports person per se. I like certain sports, but mostly they're like racing cars. Okay, I didn't get a response. Did I get a response? Checking for the question I asked earlier. Oh, yeah, I did. So here's the question that, okay. The question earlier was, if you were operating a tractor on the side of the road to go to your other farm field, can you have a passenger standing beside you with no seatbelt in the cab? And the response was no. And the follow-up was, most tractors have a passenger seat. I did not know that. I don't know which kind of most tractors. I'm not a tractor person. So maybe there's tractor passenger seats now. Well, according to him, there are. And he's a farm guy. Okay, we talked about missed insurance. We talked about this. We take compliments. We like compliments. That's always nice. And we talked about this. So we're all caught up. Can a G1 tow a trailer? Yes, but it's not a good idea. Learn to drive before you start complicating your life. While it's legal, it's not suggested. Out of curiosity, why are photocopies of insurance not allowed? Because the original document is required. It's amazing what you can phony up with a photocopy. Now, what is allowed with a photocopy is a registration document. You can have a true copy front and back of an owner's document, or the registration and plate and vehicle portion. That is the only thing you can photocopy. Original driver's license, and you can have a electronic copy of your insurance through a secure app. What happens if a parking ticket is the wrong license plate? You can always dispute it. They take photos, though, now. Our parking enforcement officers take photos. And could it be a reason they toss the ticket? Maybe, but I would say since the ticket device, I believe, scans the license from the photo, I think it's unlikely that there's an issue. But if you've got something that you think would be a reason to dump the ticket, you have the opportunity to dispute it. I think it's an online process. They don't go to court anymore. MVP for Life says most big tractors have passenger seats. Without a belt, it's in a closed cab. Without a belt? No kidding. See, I know nothing about tractors. Is it illegal to use motorized wheelchairs on the road despite there being sidewalks? Avery Price wants to know, and the answer is you're a pedestrian when you're on a motorized wheelchair, and you can go anywhere that pedestrians go. So could you be ticketed for being on the road? You're a pedestrian. If you can't be on the road as a pedestrian, you can't be on the road as as someone in a motorized wheelchair. But I can't think of many reasons to ticket pedestrians for being on the road. Okay. Here's a great question. Planning a trip to Canada for my cousin's wedding. Am I able to use my Irish driving license? You can. You can actually visit here and use your foreign license. Being that your foreign license happens to be in English, you don't need an international driver's permit. But I have more information available at TrafficCop.ca. There's a link for visitors and newcomers about driving here. So there's information available. Did you answer the improper left? I did not see that question, but maybe ask it again. That's funny. Police should be equipped with a debit machine so people can pay their fines immediately. They do that in the States. You're actually paying in many states, you're paying a bail. If you don't pay it, you go to jail because people pass through and never come back to pay them. So they do that. All right. Robbie Bobby wants to know about optional stop signs. No, there's no optional stop signs. Mind you, the ones on private property aren't enforceable in all cases. So that said, you're responsible for what happens when you run them. But on the road, on the highway, which is any road, they're enforceable, and all stop signs are stop signs. All right, I've gone way over time. It's 42 minutes after 11, which means we've been doing this for an hour and 42 minutes. And as much as I would love to do this all day, I am needing to give my voice a rest, as well as my feet, because I'm standing right now. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful day. I don't want to play the jingle again. We'll play the traffic song. That's what we'll do, the traffic song. It's with a real person instead of AI, and we like it more. The truth.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed, and watch your driving. Don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get free. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
Okay, only because there's some really cool questions that popped up. I flagged them. Let's see here. We talked about the headstone. That was a good joke. Difference between laser and radar device. So if we're talking about speed measurement devices that we use to calculate the speed of a moving vehicle, well, laser uses a laser. Laser takes a measurement by transmitting light, which then is reflected off the item that we're measuring and is sent back to a receiving lens. And based on multiple measurements in a fraction, however many times in a second that it does it, it can calculate based on the change of those readings, the distance change, it can determine speed. That is when we're standing still, vehicles moving. We have radar devices that do the same thing, but instead of transmitting light, it transmits a radar signal, which is then transmitted and it bounces off the object and then comes back and is received by the antenna, and it determines speed there. But we also have moving radar, which can then calculate the speed that the vehicle that is doing the measurement is doing, and do the math and determine the speed of the vehicle we're measuring, and taking into consideration our speed gets the actual speed without, that's not a really good explanation, but that's the explanation I can give you right now. Do I have to change signal on the highway or a road even when there's no one there? So the rules basically say that if the movement of your vehicle could impact or it could affect any other vehicle or person on the road, then yes, you have to. If there's truly nobody there, no, you don't. However, it's a really bad habit to get into. I signal when I'm alone. I signal all the time because you never know. And when you're getting a ticket, you probably meant you were wrong. What is this? Why is there no signal to indicate the opposite side has an advanced arrow? Well, why do you need to know? Your side will have a red, which is what's directing you to do what you need to do. The other side is telling them what they need to do. And you don't need to know what they need to do because you need to follow your signal. I've never thought about this, Stephen. I never, ever thought about this. And question from Tweep. Don't officers have a way to check the insurance to see if it's active and to see which vehicle it's on? So they wouldn't only need the registration. What? So wouldn't they only need the registration number? We do have an ability to run things through the ministry to see if they've recently been checked, but recently doesn't mean actually current today, this moment. So we have 3 years to lay the charge. If we have a reason to believe that there is no insurance, we may lay a charge. We may put it in our bag and investigate later. It depends. So I've had situations where I've called at the side of the road and said, I need to know the status of this insurance policy right now. But if it shows active in the system, I may not. I may choose to verify later and confirm the information that I received at roadside. And I've gone and served people documents to say that, well, you know, that ticket I gave you yesterday, there's another ticket to go with it. Because now you're getting a no insurance one as well. So it depends. But there's no perfect system that's up to date to the minute. It's got a system that checks, and yeah, we still do our own thing. Okay. How would he know? How would he know that advance is advance and he wants to make a legal? Oh, I see what you're saying. So you're making a legal right on red means you are responsible for ensuring that they can complete their turn. That you can complete your turn in safety. Well, if it's the 2-lane road that you're turning onto, you need to stay on the curb side. They need to turn on the other lane to the left of the curb lane. You all both have places to go. Both of you must ensure that the turns can be completed in safety. I think that covers it. Robbie Bobby says, have a safe and productive day. And I am really saying goodbye now because I think I need a nap. No, I'm kidding. I got a lot of other stuff to do. But I love it when we get into lots of great conversation. And that's what we had here. Lots of great conversation. We'll be back tomorrow. And at 10 o'clock, we'll start. But we will continue right into 11 o'clock. Now, at 11 o'clock, I have a hard stop tomorrow. None of this long-term extra talking. And because I have to go off-site. So 10 o'clock, we'll start. 10:35, joined by Jerry Yeager on News Talk 1010. And then 11 o'clock, we will say goodbye for another day. Anyway, have a wonderful day. Drive safe, drive sober, and smile. It looks good on you.